91.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. We were just listening to a part of William Grant Still, the piece titled Afro-American Symphony, conducted by today's guest, Leon Botstein, and the orchestra now. Let's get our guest today on the line. Maestro, are you with me?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. Let me do a brief introduction to the listeners here of LocalMotion, if I may. I'll start off by saying Steve Smith of the New York Times says, quote, "When it comes to ambitious, fearless orchestral programming, there is Leon Botstein, and then there is everyone else," unquote. Leon Botstein is a scholar, author, educator, conductor, and president of Bard College since 1975. He is the music director and principal conductor of the American Symphony Orchestra, founder and music director of the Orchestra Now, artistic co-director of Bard Summerscape and Bard Music Festival. He also serves as the chancellor to the Open Society University Network and is editor of the Musical Quarterly. Fisher Center at Bard is celebrating their 20th anniversary season. And with that, a warm welcome to LocalMotion, Maestro Leon Botstein.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, quite. It's been fun doing research and really digging into so many facets of your musical career, of your career as being maybe the longest reigning president of the college. Do you know if there's others that have reigned as long as you over any college in the U.S.?
Well, I wouldn't call it reigning.
Well, not reigning, but yeah, president, shall we say.
Hear an echo?
I
hear an echo on my machine, but that may not be a problem.
Am I on speakerphone?
Yes, you are on a speakerphone.
That's why there's an echo.
So I should get off the speakerphone.
I think unless the echo does not bother me, if it is...
Doesn't bother me.
Okay,
Doesn't bother me.
Let's go with it.
So the question was, am I the longest serving? You mean college president?
Yes.
Probably not. No, I would think not.
Okay, all right.
I'm longer. The average term of a college president now is 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in my 48th. So clearly I'm an outlier, but I wouldn't know there are other people who are, longer in the job than I am.
Right. Okay. Let's step back a little bit. I always like to do when I conduct conversations with my guests, I always like to say this is your life. I understand you were born in Zurich, Switzerland.
I was, indeed. And we came to this country, and I was a very small child, and I grew up in the city of New York.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What started your interest? I understand your first interest was in violin. What started your musical interest?
Well, I can't really remember. I can't remember a time when I wasn't interested. So partly because I traveled we moved from Europe to the United States, and I lived in a multilingual environment. I stuttered. Many children who have to switch languages have difficulty in speaking any of the languages, and either well or fluently. And I had difficulty all through childhood, all my elementary school, junior high school, college, into early adulthood. When I finally overcame the last remnants of a stuttering, which often manifests itself in a certain set of syllables that are hard for you to say as a starting out of the gate. I mean, everybody has each stutter has a different trip wire, if you will. Mm-hmm. In any event, so I was a classic case. My mother was a pediatrician, so she was knowledgeable about these things and wasn't too worried, but so I stuttered, and somehow language was never totally comfortable. It was a source of anxiety, and in a way music became the natural internal language to myself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes real sense.
And my parents, there used to be, for $2, my parents had no money, so it was not a matter of being able to afford it, but there were these concerts, open-air concerts in my childhood in Lewiston Stadium in New York with essentially the New York Philharmonic as a summer season. And you could sit on stadium seats. You brought a pillow, and they cost practically nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was my first sort of experience of live music
Wow.
in an orchestral setting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I understand you graduated from the High School of Music and Art in Manhattan and then went to the University of Chicago.
Yes.
What did you study
Yeah.
there?
At the University of Chicago, I went, well, I went there really to get a liberal arts education. So I studied history and philosophy, and I did a lot of music. So I spent most of my time as an undergraduate in music. I conducted the chamber orchestra, which I founded actually for the university, and then I was a concertmaster of the orchestra and assistant conductor of the orchestra. And so I played in the early music group, the Collegium Musicum, which was a medieval Renaissance ensemble conducted by a great musicologist, Howard Brown. And so I was mostly doing music, but I graduated in history. We did not the ordinary, sort of history, cross between history and philosophy, and in a way. And then I went for the summer after my senior year to Tanglewood.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to graduate school at Harvard in history, but I wrote on music history. My dissertation was on the history of music, and I was assistant conductor of the Harvard Radcliffe Orchestra while I was a graduate student.
Amazing. And then you were awarded the Sloan Foundation Fellowship, correct? And you started working for Mayor John Lindsay.
I did. So those years were the years of the Vietnam War and the draft and selective service in local school boards. And so, you know, it was a awkward situation, and one looked to find an honorable way not to go to Vietnam. And so there was this opportunity through the Sloan Foundation to become something called an urban fellow, which you would do work in the inner cities. And in this case, it was the Urban Fellowship was awarded to New York City, and they brought a bunch of students, you know, to essentially learn something about city government. And so I got that and went into New York and was assigned by the mayor's office to the then Board of Education, which was still an independent board. And the only reason they sent me there because I knew nothing about anything, but I had been a student in the public schools. So I figured, you know, that's a minimum requirement. Like telling a patient, you know, go, you know, help run the hospital. But we didn't run anything. I mean, I was, you know, shuffling paper, basically.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then you accidentally, I heard you do another interview when I was prepping for this one, that someone asked you, how did you become a college president? And I think your answer was by accident.
Totally by accident. So my pathway to this was launched by a skill which every musician has, which is that it's knowing how to improvise and knowing how to get out of a jam if you've made a jam for yourself. So it's simply by the fact that a series of accidents occurred by which I was the only person in the room, and I was asked to do something which ordinarily I would not have been asked to do, and you know, it got done, and that brought me to the attention of the people who were normally my superiors, but had no reason to pay any attention to me. And so by luck, I came to the attention of the vice chancellor of the city university, Timothy Healy, who later became president of Georgetown and head of the New York Public Library, a wonderful Jesuit scholar of poetry. And he, one thing led to another, and ended up my being asked to take over a bankrupt experimental college in northern New Hampshire called Franconia College. And that was my first encounter with running an institution.
And you were 23 years old.
I was 23 years old, but no one with any brains or experience would have taken the job. It was college of 90 students in bankruptcy, but it was protected by Dartmouth College, and Dartmouth didn't want to see the state, and particularly the conservative elements in the state, kill an experimental college, which in those days they saw as hippies. And so John Kemeny, who was a great mathematician, invented BASIC, the computer language, was a student of Einstein's, was a wonderful man, and he talked me into doing this, and I really very much was grateful for his support. So I was there for 5 years, and then I got hired here,
and there, while you were there, you founded the White Mountain Music Festival, which still operates today.
Yes, it still survives. Yes, amazingly. Yes.
Yeah.
And actually, the first concertmaster of the orchestra I conducted there is Phil Zetzer, the principal violinist of the Emerson Quartet.
Oh,
now
my.
retired. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
They're all Juilliard students. Yeah.
Yeah, and Bard College, of course, is in the beautiful Annandale on the Hudson, beautiful campus. Was that your first introduction to the Hudson Valley, just getting to Bard, or had you been in the area before?
Well, it was my introduction, so I had two connections to Bard College, three really. One was my older brother had been a camper at Camp Rising Sun, which was in Rhinebeck. And as an older brother, I remember driving up, when the family dropped them off to camp. The second was I was a student at the University of Chicago of Hannah Arendt, and her husband had been a philosophy professor here, and she's buried here with her husband in our cemetery. And she, behind the scenes, maneuvered to help me get this job. And those are the two main connections that I had to the area, to the college, to the Hudson Valley. Other than that, no, I really had no experience with Hudson Valley.
Right, and you came to Bard at the age of 27. And
yeah, I was got the job when I was 27, yeah.
48 years later, you have changed the whole landscape of Bard in so many wonderful ways. You launched the Levi Economics Institute, which is world-renowned. You also acquired Simon's Rock and founded the Early High School College, which I was really interested in learning a little bit more about that system, because you don't hear of that often in mainstream public early high school.
It's very successful. We have 9 public high school early colleges, 3 in New York, 1 in the Bronx, 1 in Queens, 1 in Manhattan, in Newark, in Baltimore, in Cleveland, in Washington, and New Orleans. And these are public high schools, which we run, where if you enter at the 9th grade, they're screened, so you have to be selected to go into the high school. By the end of the 12th grade, tuition-free, you can earn a high school diploma and a 2-year AA degree, similar to a community college degree, tuition-free from Bard.
Wow. Amazing. Do you find that a lot of those students that are in those programs then continue on and come to Bard campus for college?
Oh, no. There are thousands. We have 9 schools, so they go mostly to state universities. Only a handful come to Bard.
I understand. Another thing that is, I think, unique, and it shows a lot, the Bard's Prison Initiative.
Yeah, so that was founded by Max Kenner, an alumnus, and he started when he was an undergraduate, and then we hired him to run and build the program, which he was the inspiration and the designer of. It's a fantastically successful program. The prisoners get BA degrees in the same fields and with the same requirements as the undergraduates who live in Annandale, and it's a terrific success. I think we now have about 600 students in the program, and we're in 7 prisons. Last night, actually, the Bard Conservatory Orchestra gave a concert, it does every year, at Eastern Correctional, which is in Ulster County, and we did a program for the prison population. And they asked questions, and it was a great evening.
Well, I think I want to say thank you for doing that. I think that is remarkable and just what's needed in society. So, just as one human person, I want to just say thank you for continuing such
Oh,
a amazing initiative for people to have hope, and it gives you
and
hope.
the other reason for that hope is, especially in the current climate, is that Bard is the only college and university in America, of 5,000, I think, that has a dual degree program and maintained a real collaborative dual degree program with a Palestinian university on the West Bank. We have a master's degree program. We train teachers for the Palestinian Authority. And we have an honors college, a liberal arts honors college, on the campus of Al-Quds on the West Bank,
Hmm.
and called Al-Quds Bars. We've been running it for 15 years. And so we are very proud to have, in the midst of this crisis, real long-standing Palestinian colleagues and alumni and students.
Wow, amazing. Wow, it's just really it's really remarkable everything that Bard is involved in and musically as well. The beautiful Fisher Center, which is of course designed by Frank Gehry, who was a guest at the 20th anniversary celebration, one of them this summer at Bard College. Tell us, please, a little bit how all that came about with the Fisher Center and Frank Gehry and all of that 20 years ago, or a little more
Yeah,
than 20.
yeah. So one of the great things about being president here and being employed here is the quality of the trustees. So I was very young and inexperienced and probably marginally qualified to do this job. But one thing that's very important, if you're going to be a college or university president, you have to have the respect of the faculty. And the way to get the respect of the faculty is actually to have some achievement and preferably also distinction in the field in which you have your academic training, in which was, in my case, music, both scholarship and performance. And since I got the job without actually having finished my PhD, it was a stretch to think, well, how was I going to get distinction? Excuse me for a second. And having barely finished my training, not even finished my training. So the trustees, in their wisdom, did for me what trustees used to do for college presidents generations ago, allow them to continue in their field. You follow me? So they didn't turn them into full-time, fundraisers, public speakers, salesmen, representatives, and where they no longer have the time or the encouragement to do their own work, whether they were scientists or whether they were writers or historians, in my case, musicians. So the trustees allowed me to finish my dissertation, develop my own career, and in a way that benefited the college. And since it was only possible at Bard because Bard had a long history of the arts.
Mm-hmm.
This college, the arts are an equal partner. So what happened is that the trustees, as though my field was very compatible, it would never have worked in some other place where the arts didn't have a prominent role.
Right.
So
Right.
if I were at MIT,
Mm-hmm.
I would have been, let's say, I might have been a scientist. So you had to be in a field that the college or university valued, and at Bard, the arts are valued.
Yes, they most definitely are, and the design, the acoustics are magical in the Fisher Center, which I'm sure.
He did a wonderful job, yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
He did a
Yeah.
wonderful job.
Yeah. And then in 2003, was it with the opening of the Fisher Center that you began Summerscape, or was that? I know Bard Music Festival was years and years prior. That's from 1990, but
Yeah,
Summerscape.
Summerscape developed out of the building,
Mm-hmm.
but the building is a result of the Bard Music Festival. So, as you point out, the success of the Bard Music Festival, which we had under a tent, led to the construction of the building. And in 2003, it was a very auspicious year. That's the year this the building opened, and I became music director of the Jerusalem Symphony, the Radio Orchestra of Israel, and so that was sort of a watershed year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I was able to see a lot of Bard Music Festival this year and Summerscape. How I understand that you really do choose pieces that are rare. How do you pick them, and how far in advance do you pick them?
Well, we in the Bard Music Festival, we don't actually. It's an interesting comment. We don't actually go after rarity per se. So we start with a figure. So last year was the English composer Ralph Vaughan Williams,
Mm-hmm.
and now Ralph Vaughan Williams has at least one very famous piece. Two. One would be the Lark Ascending, and the other is the variation on the theme of Fantasia on the theme of Thomas Tallis. Both of these we did in the festival, so we didn't avoid the most famous. And when we did a festival on Beethoven, it's almost impossible to avoid anything that is to avoid anything that's famous, because everything is mostly famous. There are a few obscure works, but what we try to do is also highlight less well-known aspects of a composer, and that sometimes leads you to their less popular works.
I find that so interesting. I don't know that many folks do that. I think that is just really interesting.
It's a good point. Your point's well taken, but you also understand that all what we do is designed to help the distinction of Bard and to help the college.
Yes.
And the college is a place of learning and research.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't ask your average concert hall, Carnegie Hall or Geffen Hall or an orchestra. They have to worry about whether they have an audience. They have to worry about pleasing the public, if you will. We try to push the boundaries of knowledge. So if everybody knows, in the case of Saint-Saëns, everybody knows the Carnival of the Animals, right? And everybody knows the Organ Symphony, famous works by him. So we didn't play those because at a festival that has a relationship with a university or college, you also want to be expanding the knowledge of the audience, pushing the boundaries, if you will. And so our programming is designed to enkindle and satisfy curiosity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. This year, Henry VIII was a part of the Summerscape as well. It was so well done, and just, I must admit, honestly, my first opera. Excuse me. And I enjoyed it twice. It was that good. And the actors, the production at the Fisher Center was just marvelous. And it was a large-scale production, which may be my first time seeing something like that there. And it was just remarkable to witness something like that, as well as the Illinois, that was there too. And it's just such a different and so diverse, all the programming that is there in this summer. Do you already have next summer planned, or are you working on that, or how far in advance do you need to get that done and figured out?
Yeah, it depends which aspect. So first of all, I'm only responsible for the opera and the classical music part of it. Gideon Lester, who's the executive director, does the programming for Summerscape. And in the case of the operas, we've done an opera every year since 2003. Mm-hmm. And Dick Fisher, who was the chairman of the board and gave the lion's share of the money for the building, loved opera. And so we vowed to use the hall as an opera house for which it was designed at least once a year. Mm-hmm. And we choose operas that are not done by other houses, certainly in America. So if you look at the last 20 years, the operas we've done are really draw audiences from all over the world because they're very rarely done in the United States. And in some cases, for the first time they've ever been done in the United States. The Wreckers, just a long list of them. Demon, terrific operas. And Henry VIII is one of those. And those we plan in advance. So for next year, our subject is the French composer Hector Berlioz. And we're going to do an opera by Meyerbeer, who was the most popular opera composer, one can say, of the 19th century, at least, up there. And one of his major operas called The Prophet. And it says a religious, it's based in the history of charismatic religious leadership in European history, so it's also about religious conflict. In any event, the opera is called The Prophet, and we're going to do that. It was an opera that Berlioz knew and liked. And then we are in the midst of programming the Berlioz Festival, and I think, I don't know exactly what Gideon has up his sleeve, but there will be theatrical and dance work as well.
Wonderful. It's always an exciting summer, and you see the same people just really coming to enjoy it and so excited about being there. And
Yeah, we have a great audience. Great audience.
Yeah, you really, really do. You also have an amazing staff. Especially, I know many at the Fisher Center, and they're just so dedicated and just remarkable people that you have on staff there as well. So
look, the key to running an institution is very simple. You have to have a good idea and a good purpose. You have to stand for something. You have to be somehow in the forefront of doing something worthwhile and good. And if you have a good idea, then the trick is to find the very best people and let them do.
Yeah.
And so we're very lucky, we do things no other place does, and that gives people a sense of purpose, a sense to fight harder, because it's very hard in this day and age to finance these things. I mean, people never think, how is this possible? How can you put a theater piece on the stage? How can you put an orchestra on the stage? Who's going to pay for it? How do you pay for students to go to college? How do you pay faculty? The state doesn't support it. It's all private philanthropy. And the real crisis in the arts in the United States is I'm worried that the very rich are not that interested in the arts, with the exception of buying art. But in the performing arts, I'm looking for the great patrons of the arts that dominated the American scene, 30 years ago. Helen Hull in this region, Alice Tully, people for whom opera, concert, theater, dance were vital aspects of a free and democratic life.
It would be a frightening world to me without the arts. I hope it continues.
Yeah, but think about it. But the arts that are really thriving, look, we have to raise money and subsidize all the singers and get the talent and get the players. And to her great credit, Taylor Swift has 270 million followers, right? And we struggle to fill a hall to hear Mahler Symphony or Stravinsky or Henry VIII. Or we're not in the popular entertainment money-making art business.
Right. Speaking of your conservatories at the beautiful Fisher Center, the 2005 you founded the Bard Conservatory Orchestra. They've toured China, Eastern Europe, and Cuba. They continue today. There's also concerts happening this weekend with the Bard Conservatory concert this Saturday and Sunday. Tell us about what you're doing this weekend with the conservatory.
So the programs, thank you. The programs of the Conservatory Orchestra are constructed in part to make sure that the young musicians have exposure to playing the important pieces in every orchestra's repertory. So this weekend, two pieces they will be playing that every orchestra in the United States gets around to playing. So one is Appalachian Spring, the ballet score by Aaron Copland, and the other is the Concerto for Orchestra by the Hungarian composer who wrote it actually in New York in the year of his death, the Concerto for Orchestra from 1945. So these are two classics of 20th century American classical music, of 20th century music, and orchestral music. And then we feature in the rest of the program two of our colleagues. One is a more recent colleague, and that's Marcus Roberts, the great jazz pianist, and his trio. And he's now part of our team in building a jazz program here. So he'll be doing with us, with the orchestra, A New World A-Coming, which is a piece by Duke Ellington for jazz band and orchestra. And then we'll open the concert with a fanfare for The Uncommon Woman by Joan Tower, who is a longtime member of our faculty and one of the most distinguished composers alive today in America.
Yes, absolutely. Then in 2015, you founded the Orchestra Now. Tell us the difference. Tell audience the difference between the Bard Conservatory and Tone.
Right. So the undergraduates in the conservatory are young people who've come to Bard, and they have committed themselves to a 5-year, not a 4-year program, and they get 2 degrees, one in music and one in another subject. So the principal cellist, for example, now, the other degree that person is studying is physics. So so everybody on stage in the conservatory orchestra is working on 2 tracks, music and another field. And, more than half of them, I guess, end up in music, but others go on to do other things, law, medicine, science. But the quality is a real high-quality conservatory orchestra. And these are young people between the ages of, let's say, 17 and 22. The orchestra now is for graduates of conservatories, so someone who's gone to a conservatory, not necessarily Bard, but any place in the world, and finished with their primary undergraduate training as a professional musician in an instrument. They play the oboe, they play the clarinet, violin, cello, harp, whatever you wish. And they are ready to go out in the world and make a living. But many of them are looking for a bridge, a training program. We give a master's degree to them over a 3-year period where they get experience playing in an orchestra, and they get, experience in organizing stuff and talking about music. And so they get prepared to audition for jobs as orchestral musicians. And many of them have done very, very well. So it's a training, it's a professional training orchestra. It's, every resident you see in a hospital is a doctor. Every intern you meet in a hospital is a doctor, right? These are all doctors. They're already doctors, but they're now at a postgraduate continuing professional training program to get a master's degree. The people in the conservatory orchestras are not yet minted professional. They're students.
Yeah, that makes sense. The Orchestra Now, which I've seen countless times, also has an upcoming concert, not this weekend, but the following, November 4th and 5th, Exodus, Jewish Composers in Exile. Tell us a little, please.
So every year we do a project of rare repertoire in a concert with a theme. I often believe that think that it's better to have a concert that has a logic, tells a story. So just not, it's to make a culinary analogy. You'd be suspicious if you went to a restaurant and the appetizers were all Italian and the main course was all Chinese and the desserts were all French. You'd wonder who's behind the kitchen, who's there in the kitchen, right? and I prefer some coherence in a program, why these pieces are related to one another. And so every year we do 2 concerts in Carnegie Hall with tone, and each of them has a thematic coherence. It tells a story. This story is about composers whose names we've often forgotten, all of them we've forgotten, who were very successful rising stars in Europe, particularly in German-speaking Europe and Central Europe. And their careers were stopped by the rise of the Nazis to power and the exclusion of Jews first from any work, and then segregating them in public places, and then finally exterminating them. So these were refugees who were just in the beginning of their career when Hitler took power, and they had varying trajectories. One of them went to Mexico because not only was he Jewish, but he was a communist. And Mexico was one of the few places that let in people, for example, who were fleeing the fall of the Spanish Republic and others with left-wing sympathy. So he went to Mexico. Another one couldn't get anywhere and fled to India and lived for more than 10 years in India, working as a composer in India. Then there was another one that went to Paris and finally landed safely in the United States. And there's one who emigrated to Palestine and became one of the leading composers of Israel after the state was founded in 1948. So that's why it's called Exodus, Jews in Exile. These are all European-trained musicians who struggled in the 4 corners of the world to find a foothold to continue their careers as composers.
And so this concert that you're just talking about is November 4th and 5th. That's with Tone, the orchestra now. Tickets are available at fishercenter.bard.edu.
We don't expect, standing room only, but we're very impressed that people actually do come and like it. And then this is every year we issue a recording, so we're going to record 3 of the pieces that are on that program.
That's wonderful. I'd like to mention one more upcoming concert. It's not until February, but it is a pretty significant one, as they all are. February 3rd and 4th, Stephanie Blythe.
Oh, yes. Well, she's fantastic, yes.
Yeah.
She's fantastic. I think she's doing the Alto Rhapsody with us. And she also is the head of our vocal arts program.
Ah, wonderful. Yeah, your staff is so amazing. Just amazing. Neil Gaiman, of course, too, which has had those talks there at Fisher, and he's on staff as well, and Joan Tower, and great jazz department there as well. You just were recently named in 2020 the Chancellor of Open Society University Network. Talk about that just for a few minutes, what exactly that is and how you became part of that.
Well, it was an initiative by George Soros, the philanthropist, and to create, this is before the pandemic, but it became very useful during the pandemic, to create a way that, especially in places where access to higher education is very limited and controlled only by the government, that young people would have access using modern technology to gain higher education and to help institutions in places with very limited resources to improve their offerings in higher education. And it was an idea that had been talked about for a long time. And then when Mr. Soros gave the money for it, the pandemic hit, and it became terribly important. The person that runs it daily, has developed daily from day to day, and has really masterfully developed the program, is Jonathan Becker, who is the Vice President for Academic Affairs here. And it's a network of about 40 institutions that are members, and faculty give courses, and students from various places take the courses online. In some cases, there is some physical component, and there are faculty exchanges. We help scholars at risk. We do various initiatives that link because most university systems are national, American, English, French, and cooperation across national boundaries is often hard, especially at great distance.
Yeah. Um, you're also, one last thing I'd like to mention, you're the artistic director of the Campus Goffenegg in Austria.
Yes. That has, my term of office has come to an end, but I was for, I think, a 3-year period. That is a kind of a program that was developed to accompany the concert series that Grafenegg has every year. It's a wonderful place near Vienna. Sort of looks like Disneyland, but it's the original Disneyland. And so that I was pleased to be asked to do that for a period of time, but then all that came to an end during the pandemic.
Right. Yes. Yes. Many things did. That's for sure.
But then I rejoined as principal guest conductor of the Jerusalem Symphony Orchestra. So that brings me as a conductor to Israel about 3 or 4 times a year.
Amazing. You are. You don't sit still, I don't think, and you must just have quite the calendar that's constantly filled up. And you've given so many gifts to so many of us in music alone, and not to mention all this amazing programming that Bard has. And you're truly a champion of the liberal arts, of the arts in general, and it's truly wonderful to have you at Bard this long. I look forward to seeing what Bard is going to do for your 50th year as president. And are you planning on writing an autobiography?
Under no circumstances. It would be too dull.
Oh.
And but what I would say is that I don't, I feel lucky at a certain age. My father used to say, he was a doctor, a very wise man. He said, there's a point in life where you realize you can no longer die young. So I've passed that border. So I'm grateful for every day, and I find the greatest antidote to getting older is to continue to do the things that being older doesn't make impossible. So you can't be a champion athlete as an older person. You can't be a leading man in a romantic movie. There are many things you can't do, but you can think, you can make music, and I have to say that, everybody complains, this is going to be blatantly political, but everybody complains, worries about our president's age. I actually think it's an advantage, an immense advantage. This is not a person seeking higher office. This is not a person trying to better his post-presidential life by being on the circuit and earning money. This is a person who's probably motivated, whether you agree with him or not, by what he thinks is best for the country. He is the age where wisdom and statesmanship can flourish, and that may be a function of his advanced age. So I would say that he's as old as he is a reason to trust him.
That's a really good point.
And being a president of a university, or a college, I'm much better at it than I ever was when I was 35. I feel extremely privileged and grateful for the students, for the colleagues, for the trustees, for the institution. And I'm deeply attached to it, and I want to protect it from harm.
Well, I think that they are all think the same thing of you as their leader, their fearless leader, and being such a staunch supporter of the arts and of your college. And it's grown. It's been beautiful to watch over the years. As I told you, I'm was in Tivoli in the early 70s, and had friends that went to Bard, and to see it continue. And I used to hear the music coming out of the tents when you were doing the BMF.
Oh, yes, yes. You were a child, and yes, and the children loved to sit on the hill.
Yes.
That was
We would be like, what is that? And it was just this amazing music that came out of the fields as far as we knew. And now just to see everything that's happened over all these years, and yeah, and just thank you.
Well, thank you for being so enthusiastic. Most people who call you from newspapers and websites and radio stations and internet sites are not quite as friendly and enthusiastic. So I'm pleased to be your guest.
Well,
Thank you for your interest.
Yes, it's been a complete honor, and thank you for your time, Maestro Leon Botstein.
Thank you for your time.
And I will continue to play some of your music, and we'll talk some more. And just thank you. So I will see you again at Bard, and I look forward to the conservatory concert this weekend.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. Thank you.
Okay.
Ciao.
Good afternoon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. 91.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. That was Maestro Leon Botstein, president of Bard College, and so much more. Also the music director of the Orchestra Now, Bard Conservatory, Bard Music Festival, Summerscape, all kinds of wonderful things that he has done at Bard. You can visit quite a few websites to learn more. Bard.edu. Also fishercenter.bard.edu to get tickets to their extraordinary venue that is there, designed by Frank Geary, now celebrating its 20th year. Leon also has his own website as leonbotstein.com. And I'm going to go out with a few more minutes of what we are already listening to. This is a piece by William Grant Still. It's the Afro-American Symphony, performed by the Orchestra Now and conducted by Maestro Leon Botstein, today's guest. Let's take a listen to a few more minutes of this right here, right now, on 91.3 WVKR. 91.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. It is 5:01 p.m. and we are broadcasting live from the beautiful campus at Vassar College. Thank you to today's guest, Maestro Leon Botstein, president of Bard College, and also so many other accolades. We just heard part of the Afro-American Symphony from William Grant Still, performed by the orchestra now and conducted by Leon Botstein. The Bard Conservatory concert is this weekend at the Fisher Center, and tickets are available at fishercenter.bard.edu this Saturday, the 28th, and Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. There will be this Bard Conservatory concert. The following weekend, November 4 and 5, is the orchestra now performing Exodus, Jewish composers in exile. So lots of great programming at the Fisher Center. Again, fishercenter.bard.edu. Beautiful building, extraordinary to the Hudson Valley. The acoustics in it are top-notch and designed by renowned architect Frank Geary. So check out the Fisher Center at Bard College and go see something special there. And it's, as I said, 5:02. You are tuned into Local Motion here on 91.3 WVKR. If it's your first time tuning in or you're just turning on the radio now and you're listening, this show is all about music and the arts here in the Hudson Valley. I am your host, Rita Ryan. We broadcast live each and every Wednesday here. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel and the Facebook page under Local Motion on 91.3 WVKR. All the interviews we've done, most of them I should say, are archived on there. And as we do each and every hour where I don't host a guest, we start off the hour by paying tribute to Tony Falco. He founded the Falcon in Marlborough, and I come to realize it a few days ago that this Friday marks the second anniversary of Tony's passing. He meant so much and still continues to mean so much to so many people. He did so much to support living artists. That was the motto, still is the motto at the Falcon, support living artists. And there's always art in rotation on the walls, and they showcase some amazing talent there. And Tony founded this place, started in his home decades ago as like a potluck, and then he kind of outgrew that space and bought the Falcon where it is today, right on Route 9W in Marlborough, overlooking the beautiful Marlborough Falls. And he opened it, I want to say it was 2009. I think that was the first time I went in there. It was just opened a few months, and I remember going in there and just immediately felt when I walked into the building like I was home. And that feeling there for me still continues. And Tony unfortunately passed away October 27th of 2021. So we're embarking on that 2-year anniversary. One of the things he left was an extraordinary playlist, several of them really. And every week I just take a track from that playlist. I do them in order because there's no way to keep track of it otherwise. So I do them in order. And this week's is also, I always learn something new still from Tony when I listen to his playlist, because a lot of the music I've never heard before, and this is one of them that I haven't heard before. So if you knew Tony, or if you're a fan of going to the Falcon, or even if you're not, just know that there was some pioneer, some advocate, some forward-thinking person that did so much for the arts. And I hope that when you listen to this, just spend a few minutes in honor of Tony and in honor of live music, which is he was a champion for. Let's take a listen right here, right now, for Tony. This one's by Natural Child, 91.3 WVKR.
That don't bother me. I tell she don't call. Hell, she don't do much at all. She don't seem like she used to be. She never says that she loves me. Looks at me like I'm a fool, always saying I'm treating her cruel. She don't love me like she one time did before. I asked for her and she asked for a phone. She don't laugh with me anymore. She don't love me like she one time did before. Silence in the room where the laughter once flew. Silence in place of the words I love you. Even when she's close, she's so far away, and I can't find the right words to say. Ain't like she's with me, she's just there, like dust sitting across the chair. She don't love me like she one time did before. I asked for her and she asked for a phone. She don't laugh with me anymore. She don't love me like she one time did before. Yeah. Days just seem to roll by like they forgot about her and I. Nothing as lonesome as her eyes. Only a matter of time before she'll realize. She don't love me like she one time did before. She don't love me like she one time did before. She don't love me like she one time did before. She don't love me like she one time did before. Thanks so much.
91.3 WVKR. Dylan Doyle, live at the Falcon, the name of the album. She Don't Love Me, the track. And DylanDoyleBand.com. Dylan is celebrating his 26th birthday within the next few days, and he'll be doing a show at the Falcon this Friday night. And he usually sells them shows out. So not that you have to buy a ticket to go to the Falcon, but they do sell out, obviously. So reservations are always highly, highly suggested and recommended. And you can make a reservation to see Dylan Doyle and their stellar lineup this weekend by visiting liveatthefalcon.com. And help Dylan celebrate his 26th birthday. Happy birthday, Dylan Doyle. We got started on this set with a track for Tony Falco, dedicated to him because he chose that track. It's from his playlist, and that's how we start off each and every hour on Local Motion, where I don't have a guest. I play a track from Tony's playlist, and this one was by Natural Child, the album Now and Then. The song was the title track from that album. And another big thank you to Maestro Leon Botstein from Bard College for being today's guest. It was really an honor to talk with him, and he's done an extraordinary amount of good for that college over the past 50 years. 48 years he has been the president of Bard College. So I look forward to seeing what they have up their sleeves for the 50th anniversary of having Leon as their president. And we're going to give away some tickets. Not right now, but I'm going to tell you about it because after this set that I'm playing, I've got 2 pairs of tickets to give away to see jazz great Allison Miller. I'm going to play a track of her music in a little bit, and I'll tell you more about her. And she will be playing this Saturday night up in Saugerties at the new venue called The Local. She's bringing a stellar lineup with her there. And this Saturday night, October 28th, I'll have 2 pairs of tickets to give away in just a little bit. In the meantime, we're going to take a listen to the next 2 tracks, and both of these folks are playing together at the Bardavon on November 18th. We're going to start it off right now with my first guests ever on the show here, Larry Campbell and Teresa Williams. Let's take a listen. Their newest album titled Live at Levon's, 91.3.
There is beauty in chances and defeat. Look ahead, don't you turn around. Ride that train till you're homeward bound. Round the bend there is mystery and peace. Don't cry, Josephine. Sweet sun on the horizon. There's a new dawn rising and it shines like gold. Don't cry, Josephine. I think the hard times are leaving, and I can't help believing it will shine like gold. Well, don't you cry, Josephine. I think the hard times are leaving, and I can't help believing it will shine like gold.
.3 WVKR, the Weight Band. The latest album, Shines Like Gold. We heard the title track from that. Weight Band consists of Brian Mitchell, Jim Weeder, Michael Bram, Matt Ziner, and Albert Rogers. They've got a couple of shows coming up. November 3rd in Hartford at the Infinity Hall, November 4th in Fairfield, Connecticut, and on November 18th right here in Poughkeepsie at the beautiful Bardavon Theater. They're going to share that bill with Larry and Teresa, who we also heard from, and their latest album titled Live at Levon's. We heard the track Darling, Be Home Soon, written by the legendary John Sebastian. Such a great song. One of my favorites from him. So yeah, Larry and Teresa and the Weight Band. So you're going to get two for the price of one at the Bardavon Theater. Tickets available at bardavon.org. Check that out. It's a Saturday night, November 18th. The Weight Band and Larry and Teresa. Should be a great night right here in beautiful Poughkeepsie at the gorgeous Bardavon Theater. And guess what, folks? It's time for ticket giveaways. You want to go see some live music this week? Courtesy of us here at LocalMotion and The Local in Saugerties. Well, now it is your turn. We're going to ask that you please be able to go. Don't just call to win tickets, but actually be able to go. Attend to the show. The show is happening this Saturday night up in beautiful Saugerties at The Local. Right in the heart of Saugerties is where that is. And if you like jazz, or if you're interested even in listening to a little jazz, this is your show. Allison Miller will be performing her new album. She just released a new album titled River in Our Veins. Allison Miller is a critically acclaimed singer-songwriter, bandleader, composer, and drummer. With her band, she's going to perform Rivers in Our Veins. It's an original 12-song cycle with music, dance, and video, embracing the concept of flow and renewal and dedicated to our nation's crucial rivers, watersheds, and the organizations devoted to reviving and protecting them. Allison will be joined by Jenny Scheinman on violin, Jason Palmer on trumpet, Ben Goldberg saxophone, Carmen Staff on piano, Todd Sikofus on bass, and dancers Claudia, Malik, and Luke. This is going to be a really fantastic show. The show starts at 8 p.m. The doors open at 7. Beer and wine is available. Again, the show is at the Local in Saugerties. If you'd like to check out Allison Miller, I'm going to give away 2 pairs of tickets now. So you and a guest, you and a friend, partner, guest, however you want to, whoever you want to bring, you can. All you have to do is give us a call here at 845-437-7178. Allison Miller also has performed with Ani DeFranco, Natalie Merchant, Erin McEwen, Brandy Carlisle. So this is her band and her performing the new album, River in Our Veins, which we're going to play a track from right now. This track is called Water. And again, if you'd like 2 pairs of tickets are being given away, all you have to do is give us a call, 845-437-7178. And let's take a listen to music by Allison Miller right here on 91.3 WVKR. 91.3 WVKR. We have two very happy ticket winners. Congratulations to Don and to Karen. Each won a pair of tickets to go see what we just heard, Allison Miller. The track we heard was Water, the album Rivers in Our Veins. So congratulations again to Don and to Karen for being winners. Tickets are available at thelocalsocrates.com to check out Allison Miller performing there this Saturday, the 28th. Doors at 7. Showtime is at 8 p.m. We are going to keep the music flowing now. These guys, it's a sold-out show, but I got to play them because they're just so cool. Squirrel Nut Zippers. Let's take a listen. I'll tell you where they're playing. 91.3 WVKR.
Shy, something came along, caught my eye. When I heard the jazz band strike up, swear I had my mind made up. Now I'm getting older, and everything is in full swing. Now I'm getting bolder, boy, gotta do that thing. Used to walk alone with the rest, got something on my own. Oh, baby, you got a little something, darling, you got a little something new, got a little something new. Broke away somehow. That's why I'm swinging it. Got my own thing now. Children, put away your toys, all your little children's games. Let the jazz man make some noise. Step up, ladies, and watch out, boys. Mirror on the wall, who's the hot band in the hall? Let everybody sing. Boy, you gotta do that thing. Used to walk alone with the rest. Got something on my own. Oh, baby, you got a little something. Darling, you got a little something new. Got a little something new. Everybody say so. So I'm swinging it. Shoot up, shoot up, shoot up, shoot up, shoot up.
Well, she has no time for love. She only has a taste for pain. She's sweet home anywhere. She's a dangerous game. When you lend your heart to a shadow, hold my hand inside a cold glove. She's sweet home anywhere. Good night, baby. You can't come back again if you need a friend. Well, she's pretty as a pistol. She runs on a monkey mind. She's the dangerous kind. So roll out the red carpet, boys, and hoist up your white flag. She's sweet home anywhere. Good night, baby. You can't come back again if you need a friend.
.3 WVKR, independent radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. I love this new track. Sal Cataldi, also known as Spaghetti Eastern Music, brand new track called Sweet Home Anywhere. And you've got quite a few opportunities to go check out Sal Cataldi and Spaghetti Eastern Music starting tonight in Woodstock at Pearl Moon. Music tonight, Wednesday, October 25th, Spaghetti Eastern Music at Pearl Moon in Woodstock, right on the main drag there, 52 Mill Hill Road. You can also check him out tomorrow at Colony Woodstock in the Beer Garden, Thursday, the 26th at 5:30. That's at Colony Woodstock, right outside in the Beer Garden. And the weather is supposed to be extraordinary the next few days. So maybe take a ride up to Woodstock, or if you're around there, check it out tomorrow night, 5:30. And then on the 27th, he'll be at the Green Kills Session. So, and on the 29th, on the Belmore Street Fair. So there's a lot of opportunities to check out Sal Cataldi. And Spaghetti Eastern Music is also what he is known as. So you can check out his website, and better yet, go see him live. Go see him live. Thank you, Sal, for sending me the new music. We also heard a track from Squirrel Nut Zippers, their 20th anniversary remaster of the album Hot. The track we heard was Got My Own Thing. They'll be playing November 11th, and I just saw that they are sold out at Levon Helm Studios in Woodstock. You can get on a waiting list. I'm so happy to say I got tickets early when they went on sale, so you don't see those guys out there very often. Squirrel Nut Zipper, so much fun, so much fun. And what time? Where are we? It is 5:39. I think I'll play another track and then I'll do musical happenings. Let's take a listen to this wonderful gentleman who's going to be on the show within the next, I don't know, sometime this year still. Scott Petito. He's putting on a really great show this Saturday. I'll tell you more about it. But in the meantime, let's take a listen to a track from his solo release titled Many Worlds. This is called In the Company of Clouds by Scott Petito. 91.3 WVKR. 91.3 WVKR, Scott Petito's newest release titled Many Worlds, track number 8. This is Scott Petito on bass and piano, composer Mino Chinilu, percussion and flute, scottpetito.com. So Scott is the owner of NRS Recording Studios and has worked with, it feels like, almost everybody on the planet, including like James Taylor, Keith Richards, and a whole bunch of great, cool people, Levon Helm, and Chick Corea, Herbie Hancock. Just the list goes on and on. His discography is so long I could literally just sit here for the rest of the show and just tell you who he's worked with. So Scott Petito is also an incredible musician. And he puts together several times a year these really cool shows in some of our area venues. He's putting one together, producing one this Saturday. It's going to be at the Falcon in Marlborough, and it's called Shadows and Light, the music of Joni Mitchell, featuring Leslie Ritter on vocals, Sarah Parada on piano and vocals, Kendra McKinley on guitar and vocals. Scott Petito will be on bass, Jay Collins on sax, Ryan Jewell on drums, Adam Whiteoff on guitar, and special guests yet to be announced. These shows literally always sell out. I don't think there's ever been a show of his where it just doesn't sell out. He does many different concoctions, and this one will be the music of Joni Mitchell. That's happening this Saturday at the Falcon. I don't know if they're sold out, but you can visit liveatthefalcon.com to see if it is. And if it isn't, run down there because it's an extraordinary concert he always puts on. Again, Scott Petito. And he will also be my guest here on Local Motion. Let's take a look. He'll be on, in just about 2 weeks. Scott Petito. We'll talk a lot more about him. And now it's time for musical happenings. It is 5:45. I am your host, Rita Ryan, here with Local Motion each and every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. This is the time of the show where we do, in alphabetical order, we list some of our area venues and let you know what's happening in them in the hopes that you go out and support live music and enjoy a great evening of seeing live music, checking out some of our area world-class venues because we've got them right here in the Hudson Valley. And let's start out with the Bardavon and UPAC, bardavon.org. November 2nd, John Mulaney. November 3rd, Britt Floyd. November 17th, Samantha Bee. November 18th, Larry Campbell, Teresa Williams, and the Wait Band. Bearsville Theater in Woodstock, also at bearsvilletheater.com. October 28th is an Oktoberfest. November 2nd is the Woodstock Dance Party. November 4 is Lizzie. In Brewster, Uncle Chief. Info and tickets at unclechief.com. Tonight, David Ray. Thursday, Grease Patrol. Saturday, Antone Dry. And Sunday brunch with Will Gorman Trio. City Winery in Hudson Valley in Montgomery. Also at citywinery.com/Hudson Valley. Tonight, Songwriter Showcase, hosted by Annalise and Ryan. October 29th, Strawberry Fields. Colony in Woodstock and colonywoodstock.com. Tonight, Gratefully Yours. Thursday, Lightning Bolt. Friday, Sean Matthew Whiteford and the House Party Band. Saturday, Big Yellow Taxi. And every Monday is an open mic at Colony. The Falcon in Marlborough and liveatthefalcon.com. Thursday, Baba Commandment and the Mandingo Band. Friday, Dylan Doyle Band. Saturday, Shadows and Light, the music of Joni Mitchell with an all-star band. And Sunday is Mr. Gone. Fisher Center at Bard College and fishercenter.bard.edu. October 28th and 29th, the Bard Conservatory Orchestra. Howland Chamber Music Circle at Howland Cultural Center in Beacon. Tickets and info, howlandmusic.org. November 12th with Arnaud Sussman and Michael Stephen Brown. Jazz Forum in Tarrytown and at jazzforumarts.org. This Friday and Saturday, 2 shows each night featuring NEA Jazz Master Donald Harrison Quartet. Levon Helm Studios in Woodstock and levonhelm.com. October 27, Sam Grisman Project. November 4, Helm Family Midnight Ramble Band. November 11, Squirrel Nut Zippers. At the Local in Saugerties. Info and tickets at thelocalsaugerties.com. This Saturday, the 28th, Allison Miller. November 4th, Hudson Valley debut with Emil. Tarrytown Music Hall in Tarrytown, also at tarrytownmusichall.org. I don't have a listing for them. My bad. We'll move on to Town Crier in Beacon and towncrier.com. Thursday, every Thursday, is an open mic at Town Crier. Friday on the Salon stage, Vito Petrosito and Little Rock. On the main stage, Slade Cleaves. Saturday on the Salon stage, Chris Brown. On the main stage, Back to the Garden, 1969. Sunday brunch with the Lake Trio. And Sunday evening, Trey Fury. And that's at the Town Crier. Last but not least, Walk-Hill River Center for the Arts Music Series. Info and tickets at walkhillriverschool.com. November 4th is Daniel Villegas and Company. It's bilingual hip-hop spoken word poet. And that's what I've got for musical happenings. And we've got a little more time. Now I'm going to play a track by this gentleman who will be at the Town Crier on Friday evening on the Salon stage. Let's take a listen to our local hero, Vito Petrosito. 91.3 WVKR.
It's cold up in Buffalo. It's cold in Woodstock too. It's cold up in Buffalo. It's cold in Woodstock too. Yes, it is. I got a van to drive. folks waving guns and talking out of their goddamn minds. We need each other, most of all in these dangerous times. There's a wave that's rising, and I do believe justice is blind. I got my dream, it's like a diamond in my hand. I got my dream, it's like a diamond in my hand. I bear the scars of love, that's how you know I'm still your man.
91.3 WVKR. Jay Collins. The single is called Porch Light Blues. He will be one of the performers with Scott Petito this Saturday at the Falcon in Marlborough, doing the music of Joni Mitchell. So going to be a great show there. We also heard Vito Petrosito, going to tie one on. He is going to be at the Town Crier this Friday night with his band Little Rock, and that's on the Salon stage, so you don't need tickets there. You can make dinner reservations, and music is gratis, and I'm sure donations are greatly appreciated, but there is no ticket. towncrier.com. Check out Vito Petrosito and Little Rock on the Salon stage this Friday evening. Town Crier's right on Main Street in Beacon, and all the info is at towncrier.com, and that's town spelled with an E, crier.com. Well, we're nearing the end of the show today, and huge, incredible thank you to Leon Botstein, my guest today from Bard College, the president of Bard College, music director of the Orchestra Now, the Bard Conservatory, Summerscape, and also Bard Music Festival. It's an extraordinary legacy this man has built up through his lifetime here, and I encourage you to check out his website, also the Orchestra Now, some great concerts at the beautiful Fisher Center, which is celebrating their 20th anniversary. It's an extraordinary building designed by Frank Gehry. The acoustics in there are a bar none to anything here in the Hudson Valley. It is just simply extraordinary. I hope you check it out, fishercenter.bard.edu. Also, big congratulations to our ticket winners today, Don and Karen, each won a pair of tickets to go see Allison Miller this Saturday at the Local in Saugerties. Doors at 7, show is at 8. I hope to see some of you there. Tickets available at thelocalsaugerties.com. We're going to go out with a minute or two, actually 3 minutes, of Mahler Symphony No. 5, performed by the Orchestra Now, conducted by Leon Botstein, today's guest. If you missed part of that interview, it'll be uploaded tonight on the YouTube channel as well as the Facebook page under Local Motion on 91.3 WVKR. Let's take a listen to this right here, right now, from the Orchestra Now with Leon Botstein, conductor. I'll see you all next week. I will be back with Pete Kagan, owner of Utopia Recording Studios at Bearsville Theater. 2 weeks, another recording engineer, Scott Petito. We've got a great lineup for the rest of the year, and we're booking into 2024 as I speak. 91.3 WVKR. Thanks all for listening, and until next time, I wish you peace.